Team comps in Overwatch can vary wildly, but you know, at the end of the day, it's most important to communicate and coordinate with your team, and especially play to your team comp's strengths. Hey guys, I'm Bhansali with Leaderboard Esports, and this is What the Casters Miss, Episode 9. Alright, so today we're going to be taking a look at the matchup between the San Francisco Shock and the Seoul Dynasty. So this is Blizzard World, San Francisco Shock on the defense. They're going to be running a deathball / zone control type comp. What that means is Super playing Orisa, Sinatra playing Widowmaker, Architect playing Junk, and then Nevix playing D.va, Sleepy, and Moth playing Zenyatta and Tracer, respectively. On the Seoul Dynasty, the offensive side here, they're playing a pretty standard dive comp with Fleta on Widowmaker. So it's Ryuja Hong and Zunba, Winston D.va, respectively, Wakid on Tracer, and then Toby and Guido playing Mercy and Zenyatta. So I'm going to let the clip play first, and then I'll walk you guys through what not to do when you're playing defense on Blizzard World.
Has a shot. He hasn't really had anyone to even shoot at behind this shield. They will get them off of the point up top. Maybe
good pick.
Now Fleta can go to work, but early on, Wakid is picked by Sleepy.
Yeah, that's a big kill here from Sleepy. Now all the DPS falling squarely on Fleta's shoulders. For the follow-up, we'll get it. Makes body shot, and he's out of it. So now perhaps you can get that line of sight straight into the back onto that balcony. Start putting a little bit more pressure here on San Francisco Shock as Jaehong goes in bodily, throws himself in to the point. And Architect kind of caught, pinned, nowhere to go. Wakid claims that kill, but Jaehong definitely helping out. And Jaehong gets the primal off. Nick of time. He was about to go down, and that's gonna be the follow-up on Moth. Seoul Dynasty. All things told, a very clean take here on.
Alright, so you guys saw the Seoul Dynasty, right? They came back even after they were at 5v6 at the beginning of that fight. You know, Sleepy starts things off with a good pick onto Wakid. Semler correctly states that all the DPS responsibility is on Fleta's shoulders now, which it is. He's the only DPS left. But then the Seoul Dynasty somehow created an opening where there seemed to have not been one, because it was a 6v5, you know, as San Francisco Shock. What you would want to do at that point is kind of turtle, you know, you're playing defense. You don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to do anything. They have to come to you. They're not going to be able to dive you 5v6 and come out on top. Numbers game just doesn't work out unless someone on your team does something to get out of position and get picked off, right? And gives them the free kill. I wonder who that could be. We'll find out momentarily. Here we go. So I'm going to get these off your screen and we'll walk you through the play itself. So, you know, let's take a look at where these teams are set up first and foremost. San Francisco Shock, since they're running that deathball, they're going to be playing very close-knit, very tightly together. Like, they want to be like this, behind the Orisa shield with D.va behind them, protecting with the defense matrix if need be, right? This is D.va, this is the Orisa shield, and this is the rest of the team. That's Architect, Sinatra, Sleepy, and Moth. Just powerhouses behind this. Maybe Sinatra would be the only one holding a different angle. Like, and since Widowmaker's so mobile with her rappel, she can provide different lines of fire while her team focuses on the front. But yeah, you know, they want to stick together. They want to do lots of damage. They want to be alive. They play very passively. That's what you want to be doing as a deathball. On the side of the Seoul Dynasty, however, you know, they're on the attacking side of Blizzard World. So they're the ones that are... they're the ones that will have to make that first and foremost step. So Seoul Dynasty, they're running that dive comp, of course. Ideally, what they want to do is get Ryuja Hong and Zunba on Winston and D.va respectively up on this high ground, so Fleta as Widowmaker can take another spot, maybe down here, maybe further past, and get lines of sight to take massive pot shots at San Francisco Shock, ideally. So what really happens is this. Let's see. Super. Oh, okay, so this is huge because Guido is already positioned up here, right? He sent a right click, a volley of orbs to the shield already. So the San Francisco Shock are cognizant that Guido, the Zenyatta, is going to be up on this high ground somewhere. That's where he wants to go. And it's not like Zen can run. It's not like he has legs that touch the floor or anything. So he's not going to be covering massive swaths of ground in short amounts of time. He's going to be generally in this area. And that's important to note moving forward, and I'll show you why in a sec. But, yeah, let's see what happens. So, Ryuja Hong starts off with a dive up onto this high ground, instantly pushes Super off. Super, at this point, is going to go to site and try to set up around this corner or play around the wall, because there's a massive wall blocking a large portion of the site. So, you know, use the topography to your advantage. We've seen teams do that on Junkertown. We've seen teams do it on other maps, and ideally, that's what the Shock want to be doing here. They head down. Sleepy gets a massive pick onto Wikid, so they're down 1 DPS already. It's a 5v6. At this point, San Francisco Shock, if they turtle like it looks like they are doing now, this is Zenyatta on the far left, and the rest of the team, he's going to be making his way down here. Architect's already going to jump off and get to the rest of his team. If they're able to just stay together, they will live, and they'll, you know, Seoul Dynasty will have to just waste time until Wikid is back. Not the case, however. Continuing here, Sleepy's still getting picked onto Nevix. I'm onto Wikid, sorry. This is kind of a good spot here because, yeah, it shows exactly how Guido gets the pick onto Sleepy. He's, like, in this split second of a moment, Guido pushes up on the high ground and gets a right-click volley across the map onto Sleepy. At the same point, however, Nevix realizes that Guido is still up on this high ground and comes diving all the way up here by himself to try and chunk Guido down. And that is the fatal flaw right there. So, d.va, you know, with her micro missiles, that's her E ability. I don't know why I wrote E, but that her micro missiles are E ability, and she's defense matrixing, right? So none of Zenyatta's projectiles are going to be able to hit her. What she does is just fly into their face. She hits them with the booster. She hits them with her body, basically. Does a little bit of a damage. Eats all the orbs coming her way, so she's not taking any damage, and then empties her micro missiles onto Zenyatta, and he just dies, basically. But the Seoul Dynasty were kind of expecting that. They had Guido up there, and they're running a dive comp. So as soon as Nevix heads up, Zunba and Ryujahong are just all over him. And they make light work out of Nevix. And Nevix is gone. And, you know, once we see Fleta, this is Fleta's perspective we're looking at, peeking this res taking place, that's Moth trying to get Sleepy back, you realize, hey, maybe that's where Nevix should have been. Because look at this. Moth gets the res onto Sleepy. 24. Here we go. Boom. Here. Ideally, Nevix would have rotated back with this team and is protecting Sinatra, is protecting Moth, and is protecting the now rezzed Sleepy, and he could have been doing that instead of having dove and trying to get that pick. And it's like, you know, dive comps only work when there's an opening, when there's a misstep that they can capitalize on. Death balls work because you stay within your team. If any one of those go out of line, if you're not playing to your team's composition, to their strengths, then clearly you see what happens afterwards. Nevix goes down, Moth gets the pick, gets the res onto Sleepy, but then here, you see they're setting up, the Seoul Dynasty are setting up a nice dive here with Fleta up on the high ground. So he's going to be able to take massive pot shots, do huge amounts of damage, while the rest of the Seoul Dynasty dive onto the backline. That's Sleepy, Sinatra, or Moth. They have a lot of good targets, they can choose any one of them. And still, it's kind of awkward now being super as Orisa because you're kind of by yourself behind the shield, right? You wish you had another tank here, you wish you had Architect here, but he's kind of playing this well, and we'll see how that pans out momentarily. Zunba and Ryujahong going for the dive. They focus onto Sinatra first. She's going to be repelling away, and then Ryujahong comes to the site, realizes that Architect is by himself on the right side, focuses him down primarily, then he gets his Primal Rage, and then they enter the choke once again. We saw this before, and then Ryujahong zoning Moth out, comes back to site, and after that, it is just over. But, you know, Seoul Dynasty making the most out of a 5v6. And Nevix, dude, like, he's a great d.va. This entire team is great. They actually end up winning this matchup 3-1 against the Seoul Dynasty. Spoiler alert, sorry, I should have probably said that earlier. But, Nevix, dude. 5v6, he goes a little bit too out of position and gets chunked instantly after that. The ball is rolling, and there's nothing that the San Francisco Shock can do to stop Ryujahong and Zunba. That is it for this week, guys. Subscribe and like if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon to become part of our notification squad today to find out when we're going to be uploading our videos, usually 3 times a week at this point. So if you love content about Overwatch, League of Legends, or esports in general, you're going to want to keep your eyes peeled. My name is Jim Basco with Leaderboard Esports, and I'll catch you guys next time.